All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Terence Crawford may be forced eventually to fight Jaron Ennis, and a Hall of Fame fighter. I do believe Zab Judah is in the Hall of Fame. If he's not, throw that man in the Hall of Fame. Said he has changed his mind about whether or not Jaron Ennis was ready to fight Terence Crawford. And he says, nah, that man's ready. Let's talk about why he said that, because it is missed by so many people. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division where Zab Judah has changed his mind about whether or not Jaron Ennis is ready to fight Terence Bud Crawford. And he said a reason that I have been saying for a while, and people are seriously sleeping on. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It absolutely positively means a ton, especially when you guys support in the super thanks. And shout out to everybody that does, Mario, my guy, Mr. Pragmatic, the whole crew, man. Thank you very much. Barbara D, John Bowie. Haven't seen John Bowie in a while. Hope you're doing well, John Bowie. All the above. But let's get into this because this is obvious. Okay, as we know, Terence Crawford is now the undisputed champion at the 147-pound division. Accent on the word champion. Accent on other words in the 147-pound division. He's the champion in the 147-pound division. So what in 9 out of 10 cases, 99 out of 100 cases, well, actually, geez, let me see, 15 out of 17 cases of actually, that's more than that because that's the number of weight classes. We got like 90 belts. So at 88, just say there's 90, 88 out of 90 times. What does that mean? That means that he's the champion and he needs to defend the championship belt against the contenders. Something that for some reason gets missed every once in a while. I don't understand why it gets missed, but it gets missed. Once you are the only champion in the division, your job then becomes to defend against the contenders, the highest ranked or available contenders that you can. That's the job of a champion. It's not just to win the belts, hang them on your wall, talk about how great you are, and then figure out, well, I've made it, now I can do whatever I want to do. Nah, dog, that is added on to the end by people that want to support that champion. You're supposed to be fighting the contenders, and how do you know who the contender is that you're supposed to fight? Well, the sanctioning body has these things called mandatory challengers, where they put in their rules that you're supposed to fight the guy if you're ordered to do it, and you're supposed to do it once a year, or depending on whether or not you are a WBO super champion, once every 18 months. So there are no franchise champions out there right now, so we don't have to worry about discussing that. Now, Jaron Ennis just so happens to be let me repeat this record. I think he's 31-0 with 28 knockouts. The most important thing to Zab Judah and to me is the 31. Now, why is that important to Zab Judah? Because Zab Judah said, look, man, when he's a young dude, you know, man, I'll be looking at these boxing records all the time. I said, I'm into boxing, but I'm not into boxing like that, where I'm like really paying attention to how many fights and what exactly people have done. But shout out to Mill City TV, do great interviews. Shout out to them on the interview that they did with Zab Judah. Zab Judah said, he said, look, I didn't know he had 31 fights. He had 31 fights. Oh, yeah, he's ready. Yeah, 31 fights, he's ready. Now, note what he didn't ask. He didn't say, who did he fight? He didn't say, who did he fight? What did he do? Name the people. He didn't do any of that. And this is a fighter that is a former undisputed 147-pound champion. Yeah, he is. He is a former undisputed welterweight champion. Zab Judah. Zab Judah said he has 31 fights. Oh, he's ready. Now, why would that be? Because you beat 31 professional fighters in a ring. That is not an easy task, no matter what you guys want to say, because you don't recognize who they are. Jaron Ennis is an experienced fighter. He is an experienced fighter. At what point in time is enough experience enough? What does he need, 50? Or is he not going to ever be able to fight Terence Crawford unless he fights Terence Crawford? You know, there was a guy that came through and talked about the experience paradox in with boxing fan logic, where if a guy has never beaten anybody, according to you all anyway, never beaten anybody, because to me, he beat Sergey Lipinets, the brakes off Sergey Lipinets, and he beat the brakes off Thomas Delorme, and he beat the brakes off of Chris Van Heerden, and he beat the brakes off of Romy Villa, who beat the brakes off of Rashidi Ellis, who beat Alexis Rocha, and is most definitely a very, very good fighter. But whatever, you know the saying, who have you beaten? He beat 30 of those people. And once you get to a certain experience level, you've been in 30 fights, and most importantly, you are the I'm sorry. He also beat Custio Clayton, who had beaten the last guy, Abu Karov, that people had claimed Errol Spence Jr. was ducking. But as soon as he heard the number 31, he said, oh, hey, he's ready, man. I didn't know he had done that much work. Yeah, that's a lot of fights, bro. That's 31 fights to never lose a round in as well. 31 fights to never lose a round in. Now, what happens is he going to fight Terence Crawford next? Of course he's not, because Terence Crawford's not going to fight him. Terence Crawford is going to take the Errol Spence Jr. rematch like he has to, as long as Errol Spence Jr. exercises his rematch clause. That fight, he's going to have to take. However, when that fight is done, he moved up to the weight class and go to whatever the case is, he can do whatever he wants to do as long as he drops those belts. If he's holding those belts, the mandatories have to come sooner than they did before. When Errol had all three, because Errol was holding out on his mandatories for a good reason, unifying with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, if he stays in that weight class, the only reason not to fight Jaron Ennis or one of the other mandatories, which is Keith Thurman and Amanda Stanionis, is because he's rematching Errol Spence like he had agreed to do. But if he is not going to go to 154 like immediately, he either needs to drop those belts or he needs to fight one of those guys, period. Because once again, the job is to defend the belts. Once you're the champion, undisputed champion, you're supposed to defend your belts. And that doesn't matter against the mandatory challenger. And it doesn't matter who it is. The only thing that should trump your mandatory is a unification. And that's it. Unless you can't make the weight and you lead a weight. If you lead a weight, he leads the weight. Can't complain about that. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.